All women dream of having this moment where she feels safe inside her man's arm and feel he's committed to her. However, most women complain that men don't want to commit. The fact, ladies, is that men have fears of commitment. If you were able to know and understand his fears and you accordingly acted in a way to make him feel safe to commit to you, he will at once not hesitate a second and take the decision. So in this video, we will discuss why men fear commitment and all the reasons a guy have inside that get him to pull away from the idea of commitment. So keep on watching. Hello everyone and welcome to Resistant Romance channel, where we will help you achieve the happiest relationship with your partner. Make sure to hit the subscribe and bell buttons not to miss our secret tips and tricks. So without further ado, let's get started. So what kind of fears that men have from commitment? Well, men usually have 10 fears of commitment, which have roots to their experience and memory through their life and from childhood till they grow up. So let's check those fears together. Number 1, fear of trust. Some men have a history of manipulative mother, for example, who cheated on his dad. Or he himself as a man faced that in his previous relationships, that a woman he used to love that cheated on him. This results in a man having trust issues for all men. This can be so clear if the guy suffered from a very bad divorce experience. Some signs that shows that he's suffering from this fear is that he talks negatively about his ex or mother in general, and he feels that he was a victim of their bad acts and that he doesn't believe in the existence of love and prefers to never marry. Number 2, fear of not being loved. If a guy had a childhood experience of not being loved or having the love conditioned to certain acts that he should do, this might lead to the fear of not being loved by his partner. He might feel that he's not good enough and not worth receiving this love that he needs. That is why a guy that suffers from this would act fine in normal way. However, he's never able to say I love you or never able to take real steps for real grounded acts of commitment. He usually feels emotionally uncomfortable in relationships. He would prefer to be alone rather than experience this painful feeling of not feeling loved. Some signs might include feeling so shy and quiet, as well as not being able to speak about his needs. Number 3, fear of rejection. One of the fears that men has is the fear of rejection, that a woman might lose interest suddenly and abandon them. They might not have enough courage to deal with conflicts. So you will find him when there's an issue, he prefers to distance himself first, think, calm down, and then reacts. This is because men in general have an issue dealing with stress. That is what we see. When a man is feeling stressed, he prefers to distance himself away to calm down. Researchers found out that men's heart rate and blood pressure can read higher than that of women in this situation. Men usually take more time to calm themselves down. Consequently, you will find the man, instead of investing in talking to you and work on solving things out, he might gradually fade away from your life or simply quickly dump you. If the man has this feeling of rejection and he's not sure about how you feel about him, he would not commit. Some signs of fear of rejection is that he avoids angry exchanges and he usually tends to pull away from you when you have disagreement. Number 4, fear that he's not capable of taking the right decisions. This type of man in general have fears of regretting his choices later on. This is clear in all his decisions in life. He fears to choose and stick to that choice. He's afraid to choose you, then another better option appears. He's afraid to work for a company, then another option comes up which is better. He's afraid to choose to buy this t-shirt and another shirt would appear in another shop. It is the fear of taking decisions and handling the responsibility of it later on. Some signs that tell a man has this kind of fear is that he's very intellectual and he overthinks stuff. Number 5, fear of being controlled. Let's be honest, this type of fear is very valid. When you are single, you are the boss of your own life. You can do everything you want whenever you want. Once you are in a relationship, this freedom is seized down a bit, as a bigger responsibility shows up, as you are now responsible for another person sharing your life with. Men in general value their freedom and independence way more than women do. As well, if the guy had a very strong, tough mother in his childhood who's controlling him, so most men see women as a burden in their life that will control their life, dreams, goals, and activity, etc. This guy usually is happy when you are around, but as soon as you ask him about commitment, he will run away. He fears he would lose his freedom, even if he's so much in love with you. The idea of a long-term relationship for him is super scary. Marriage and commitment for him are like a cage with no option to escape from. Some signs of this would be like he's usually confident in every aspect in his life and in his relationship with you until commitment talks starts, that he would simply run away. He acts like Prince Charming, but he never wants to name the relationship or take any positive steps towards real commitment. Number 6, fear of growing up. This is called the Peter Pan syndrome, where a man would feel that he's not an adult and ready enough to handle a big responsibility for commitment and having a family and kids. This could be due to the fact that his parents were so protective for him from the problems in the real world, or the other contrast that he was totally ignored by his family due to family divorce, workaholic mom, or a missing father. An example of an overprotective family is that they never allowed him to try something hard, like a hard kind of sport. They never let him face the responsibility of his action as a child, even at school. They, as parents, always put responsibility on the shoulder of anyone else, and he's never to blame. As well, if he was a kid suffering from some sort of disease, that the parents were always so protective from him, refusing him to play with other kids. This results in a man not being able to form his own identity at a young age. He feels and wants to live as a child who wants to play, sleep late, and refrain from carrying any responsibilities. Some signs that tells that guy has fears is if he makes ridiculous jokes or acts childish in public, like farts in public, for example. Number 7, fear of getting exposed. We all have our own insecurities. Even men do have their own fears and insecurities. As human beings, we tend to hide those fears and keep it to ourselves because we know that if someone knew them, they might use it against us, and this will for sure make us feel deeply in pain. Men might fear to get committed, as getting so close to a person, this means that you will expose your fears and insecurities to your partner. This might even have a greater impact if this guy's parents shamed him. As well, if the guy has a big secret in his life, like a relative in jail, mental hospitals, etc. As well, a guy might have fears of exposing some flaws that he has, like a physical defect he has, as the size of his penis, for example, or that he was always considered as a lower quality man, not good enough for better positions at work, for instance. Signs of this type of man is that he denies any feelings he has, like loneliness, etc. He's the type of person who is so judgmental about others and usually sarcastic towards them. Number 8, fear of not being worthy. Men have always been raised to be the tough one. A man in the current world is being measured by his worth in terms of wealth and power. Men are always challenged to always succeed in every aspect in their life, whether it's professional or personal. This can get them to feel that if they could not achieve success in a field, they might be called losers. And this is very hurting for a man. This type of guy has fears that he cannot give a woman what she needs. This feeling can get even doubled or tripled if he has deep feelings for her that make him refuse the idea of commitment. Some signs that can get you to spot this type of person before it's too late is if he's bragging about his accomplishments. This type of person might even lie about his accomplishments. He might search for other women to boost his ego if he failed at work, for example. Number 9, fear of limiting his options. This is one of the most common reasons that men don't want to get committed. It's simply that they are not done playing around. He wants to be with other women and see more women and meet more women. He's not ready to settle down for one yet. It doesn't necessarily have to do with sex, but rather with the idea of being surrounded with hot women and having the option to see someone new. This type is so clear for its signs. Might be he's over secretive with his mobile phone and keeping passwords to hide the fact that he's talking to other women. Might also be that he refuses to take you out in public alone or introduce you to his family and friends. Number 10, fear of failure. We all have this fear of the unknown. As they say, love is like getting addicted to cocaine. The feeling you have of happiness, joy, and love makes us experience happiness like we have never experienced it before. So one of the definite fears is when a guy thinks, what if I gave all my heart and love and I was let down? What will happen if the relationship failed? How would I feel? How huge the pain will be? So, some men simply prefer to avoid getting into anything serious from the start to avoid the pain that might feel if things didn't work out. Now that you have known the fears that hold a man back from getting committed, you might be asking yourself, how can I help him overcome those fears and get committed to me? So make sure to click and watch the next video where we will reveal for you the strategy to get the guy to commit to you and overcome his fears about commitment to you. So click and watch the next video right now.